Welcome to this edition of Head to Head. I'm your host, Cam McKinney, and this is episode number 326 of the podcast. And on this episode, I'm talking about where Aaron Judge stands right now and where he will end up on the list of all-time great New York Yankees. Because right now is the time to talk about Aaron Judge. Judge is currently having another unreal season. He currently leads the majors with 51 home runs, 122 RBIs, a ridiculous .465 on base. Judge's .333 batting average would be the 7th highest for a player with 50 or more home runs in a single season. Aaron Judge is a shoo-in to win American League MVP. Here's the list of Yankees who have won multiple MVP awards. Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, and Yogi Berra each have won the award 3 times, and Judge with 2 would be joining the likes of Alex Rodriguez, Lou Gehrig, and Roger Maris. I don't think I'm going out on a limb by saying this, but of those players, he's already a better all-time Yankee than both Roger Maris and Alex Rodriguez. Roger Maris was a guy who had a really big moment for the Yankees. Again, he was a 2-time MVP. He's an all-time great Yankee, but Aaron Judge is going to be far more remembered for being a member of the New York Yankees than Roger Maris. And the other one is Alex Rodriguez. I think right now, if Aaron Judge's career would end today, New York Yankee fans would already view Aaron Judge as a better Yankee than Alex Rodriguez. And there's a few reasons for that. Statistically, Alex Rodriguez was brilliant for the New York Yankees. Again, he won 2 MVP awards, but he was never anyone's favorite Yankee. He had massive struggles during the postseason, and during his time with the Yankees, they had Derek Jeter, who was far more beloved than Alex Rodriguez. A-Rod was never the face of the New York Yankees. Aaron Judge is the face of the New York Yankees. He's synonymous with the franchise, and that was never the case with A-Rod. Judge currently has 309 career home runs with the Yankees. That's 7th most in franchise history. By the end of his career, there's a chance he can climb all the way to 3rd. He's not passing Babe Ruth. Mantle at 2nd is a possibility, but you just don't know how Judge is going to hold up later in his career. He is 32 years old. So as you can see, Judge has done everything you can do in a Yankees uniform except one thing. He has yet to be on a team that has won a World Series title, and that is how a majority of people rate Yankees, by how many titles they have. That's probably the biggest reason first baseman Don Mattingly isn't in the Hall of Fame, because he's viewed as the great Yankee who didn't win. Reggie Jackson only spent 5 years with the Pinstripes, but won 2 World Series titles and is Mr. October, so he's viewed as a Yankee legend even more so than Don Mattingly, who spent his entire career with the Yankees. Judge has monster stats, so no matter what happens, he will be a Hall of Fame player. It's likely he's going to end up with multiple seasons of 60 home runs. Some will still not consider him an all-time great Yankee if he doesn't win. In a way, it reminds me of what was happening with Jason Tatum with the Boston Celtics. He was putting up numbers rivaling the Celtics greats like Larry Bird, but he hadn't won until this past season. And now people are asking the question, is Tatum a top 10 Celtics player? With Judge, you can already have that talk, and I would argue he's one of the only things the Yankees have going for them these past few seasons. Yes, they win a lot of ball games, but all of the interest around that team has been because of Aaron Judge and his freakish stats. The difference between Aaron Judge winning a World Series at some point in his career and not winning one could come down to, does outfielder Juan Soto sign long-term with the New York Yankees? Because they are making a fantastic duo that I want to see play together beyond this season. And I'm somebody who's a fan of the Boston Red Sox, but I love it when 2 great hitters put up stats together. I grew up with that. David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez. I loved every second of that. And Aaron Judge and Juan Soto are reminding me of that. They need to stick together. I think it's in the best interest of both players. Juan Soto has vastly benefited from playing with Aaron Judge and vice versa. Things could get bleak if the Yankees lose Juan Soto, because then it's Aaron Judge and no one else. Who would pitch to Aaron Judge next season if there's no Juan Soto in the Yankees lineup? So I don't care if the number is $500 million. The Yankees need to keep Juan Soto in a Yankee uniform. That is the real chance Aaron Judge has of winning a World Series. That is, of course, unless it happens this season, which I don't think is very likely. Listen, the Yankees have those two superstar players, but then they're kind of a flawed roster after that. Jazz Chisholm has been nice. Gleyber Torres has not been as good as he's been in past seasons. Garrett Cole is coming off of injury, so I don't know how he's going to look in the postseason. I don't feel that great about the Yankees' chances this season, but long term, their only chance of winning a World Series is keeping Aaron Judge and Juan Soto together. The most insane thing about Aaron Judge is he's having an even better overall season than when he hit an American League record 62 home runs, and it's not out of the realm of possibility he breaks his own record. I just want to talk about how this is very good for the sport of baseball to have a feared offensive player like this. It reminds people of Barry Bonds, and say what you want about him, he brought eyeballs to the sport. What we are all hoping for is that the Aaron Judge story has a happier ending. Here's something that is disheartening if you're a fan of baseball. Aaron Judge will never be as big as Barry Bonds is on a national level without a scandal involved. That's what's sad about the most talked about baseball players of this era, are the guys involved in scandal. Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, P. Rose. More people wanted to talk about Shohei Ohtani because of his recent scandal over the fact that he's viewed as the modern day Babe Ruth. Aaron Judge is giving people a reason to talk about him nationally, and all they do on ESPN is show the highlight of him hitting a home run and then move on. They're not giving you real analysis of him as a player. If he were a football player, it would be completely different. If he were a basketball player, it would be completely different. I think this is a sign of the times that baseball isn't as popular as it used to be, because every Barry Bonds moment was dissected thoroughly. The coverage was just different back then. I mean, there was a Baseball Tonight on ESPN every night. Now baseball is on ESPN on Sunday night, and that's about it. That's all you get. You watch shows like Get Up, they'll show the highlight of Aaron Judge hitting the home run, and then they move on. He is not talked about on a national level far enough. That's why it's kind of hard to call Aaron Judge famous outside of baseball. Like, he's just not on that level. I mean, everyone knew who Barry Bonds was. Everyone knew who Alex Rodriguez was. Everyone knew who Derek Jeter was. Everyone knew who David Ortiz was. Even if you didn't watch the sport of baseball, you knew who those men were because of their stats, sometimes because of the scandals, but because they were talked about all of the time on the sports shows, and they were talked about on the news as well. They were big figures in sports. To give you an example of how things were different, I mean, think about the home run chase in 1998 between Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire. That was big on a national level, even outside of ESPN. 2 years ago, when Aaron Judge broke the American League record for home runs, it only felt like it was a contained thing within baseball. It was a massive deal. Everyone was talking about it, but on the sports shows, it wasn't covered on the Today Show like it was a phenomenon. It wasn't talked about in the same way as baseball was in the 90s. And yes, baseball is to blame for this in a way because of the steroid scandal. We all look at these home run numbers and we go, some of us go, oh, this can't be real. I can never buy into this again. It kind of took the joy out of the sport. I mean, here I am talking about how I don't think Aaron Judge gets enough coverage for what he's doing. He's playing for the biggest market in the sport, the New York Yankees. Could you imagine what would have happened to Aaron Judge if he had gone to the San Francisco Giants and was having one of these type of seasons with them? I mean, Barry Bonds played for the San Francisco Giants and we were all talking about him, but that would not have been the case with Aaron Judge. Hardly anyone would care if he was putting up these numbers with another franchise outside of a marquee one like the New York Yankees. Yankees. So one of the reasons I wanted to talk about Aaron Judge isn't just because he's having this unreal, fantastic season. It has to do with the fact that in my lifetime, I never thought that there could be a modern Yankee that many would consider the face of the Yankees over Derek Jeter. And I think that could possibly happen with Aaron Judge. Here's what Derek Jeter has over Aaron Judge: the postseason. He has almost every postseason record. Aaron Judge is not going to end his career with 5 World Series rings. But if Aaron Judge can get a World Series or two and end his career with over 600 home runs, it's going to be hard to argue that Derek Jeter is a better Yankee than Aaron Judge. I mean, come on, there's an obvious bias towards power hitters. He's a power hitter hitting 60 plus home runs. That is a special thing to a lot of people. I know it's been tainted because of guys like Barry Bonds, but still the most popular players in baseball are the ones hitting home runs. Yes, you could possibly make the argument that Derek Jeter is a more complete player than Aaron Judge, although Aaron Judge is playing really good center field for the New York Yankees. And I could do an entire podcast about how so many people feel like Derek Jeter was overrated defensively, even though the man won 5 Gold Glove awards. In a power sense, Derek Jeter cannot compete with Aaron Judge. He didn't even hit 300 home runs in his career. What he's got going for him is the winning. He is one of the biggest winners of my lifetime. I view him, Tom Brady, and Kobe Bryant as like the winningest athletes of the time I've been alive. They've each won over 5 rings. I mean, Brady has the 7, Jeter has 5, Kobe won 5. I mean, those guys were a big deal to me because they were winning all of the time. And because of all of that winning, you really can't say that Aaron Judge is better than Derek Jeter if he doesn't even end up winning at least 1 World Series title, because the man won 5. He was part of a dynasty. He was a huge part of the dynasty. The Yankees were losing all of the time. Don Mattingly's entire career, they didn't win a World Series, and then during Derek Jeter's rookie season in 1996, the New York Yankees won the World Series. That's the legacy that Derek Jeter has going for him. It's almost bigger than stats. He's almost like a mythical figure to Yankee fans, and rightfully so, because there was a long period of drought. There were no World Series titles, and then here comes this kid, and he becomes the face of the New York Yankees. And as players, they are vastly different, but I do see similarities between the two personality-wise. Like, Aaron Judge just gives you straight answers. He doesn't really give interesting interviews the same way that Derek Jeter used to. It was all about baseball. They play every single day. Aaron Judge went through some injury issues. Derek Jeter went through some injury issues, but they play most of the time. They're the captain of the Yankees. I know that's not a big deal to anyone because captain in modern day sports means absolutely nothing, but I think that's a franchise where it still kind of matters. And this is a big one that Derek Jeter has going for him. He played his entire career as a member of the New York Yankees, and I think that's going to be the case for Aaron Judge. He's going to play out this contract, and then he'll probably retire. So it's looking as though Aaron Judge will end his career as a member of the New York Yankees, although you never know. Anything can happen in sports. People like to say that the most interesting thing about the New York Yankees is all of the winning that they do. And yes, them winning the most World Series titles is endlessly interesting, and you could talk about that till you're blue in the face. What I find interesting is how many of these all-time players they have. I mean, they have Joe DiMaggio, and then here comes Mickey Mantle. They have Babe Ruth, and then here comes Lou Gehrig. I mean, they just move on from star to star to star, and sometimes it comes in unexpected forms. Like, I don't think at the time that Aaron Judge was a rookie, when he was entering the league, that anyone thought he would be as big as he is now. And then his rookie season, he hit 52 home runs and immediately becomes one of the faces faces of baseball. And I've said this before, baseball is a sport where the big market still matters, so it does mean something that Aaron Judge is doing all of this while in a Yankees uniform. Everyone talks about him on a daily basis on New York radio or whatever. There is real pressure on Aaron Judge to produce, and he has produced at the highest of levels. I cannot tell you how insane it is that the man has hit over 50 home runs before the month of September. That is unheard of. And I do think he is benefiting from the fact that we haven't seen a power hitter like this in decades. Since Barry Bonds, since Mark McGwire, since Sammy Sosa, since even Ken Griffey Jr. Like, we haven't seen this kind of power in forever, and we kind of got jaded from it because every time a guy would emerge like this, we would go, oh, he's clearly on the roids. This isn't pure, if you will. Nobody feels that way about Aaron Judge. We all kind of are on board with this guy. He's likable. He's a massive guy. He's always been a massive guy. I know we could all be wrong, and then one day we'll all feel sad about this. It's just fun to watch this guy hit a baseball that hard. And maybe I'm wrong. I do believe he's the real deal. I don't think there's going to be a scandal. I don't think he's Barry Bonds. I don't think he's A-Rod. He's the face of the sport. He's become bigger than Mike Trout because Mike Trout has been dealing with injuries. I think he's bigger than Shohei Ohtani. I know Ohtani might come back next season, have a 40-40 season, and pitch. Talk to me then. Right now, Aaron Judge is the face of baseball. And I believe at the end of his career, we will view him as a top 5 Yankee, possibly top 3 Yankee of all time. Like, I just don't know where this home run total is going to end up. Again, he's 32 years old. He's going to hit over 500 homers. Can he get to that 600 number? If he gets to that number and has multiple seasons of 60 plus home runs, he's going to be a top 3 Yankee of all time. And he does need that World Series ring to get there. And I think there's a real chance that he gets there at some point because the Yankees are going to spend money. If they don't get Juan Soto, they'll possibly get somebody else. I have to imagine that Aaron Judge is going to get at least one World Series title in his career with the New York Yankees. Even if you hate the Yankees, you're kind of rooting for this guy because he's carrying that franchise and you almost feel like he deserves to be on a winning baseball team. It's hard to talk about a guy like this who in the moment is having these kind of seasons, but I just look at it and I go, nobody is doing even close to what this guy is doing in the batter's box. And I just want this on record. I know there are people out there who go, oh, he's only having these kind of seasons because of right field at Yankee Stadium. That is ridiculous. If that were the case, other members of the Yankees would be able to have power seasons like this. No, Aaron Judge is the best power hitter in all of baseball, without a doubt. What's interesting about Aaron Judge and the Yankees is if he were playing for another organization, he might already be the best player in franchise history. Like if Aaron Judge were on the Marlins putting up these numbers, he'd already be the best Marlin of all time. But because he plays for an organization with the New York Yankees who have the most World Series titles of all time and numerous amounts of Hall of Famers, you actually have to have a real look at where he stands up against the other greats in the organization. I mean, Aaron Judge could be phenomenal for the rest of his career. He's not going to end up as the greatest Yankee of all time. Like, I know I never watched the guy play, but I'm not all of a sudden going to go Aaron Judge better than Babe Ruth. That's not going to happen. That's not possible. But what is impressive and what is possible is that I might be able to say at some point at the end of his career that he's a better Yankee than Derek Jeter, that he's a better Yankee than Mickey Mantle. We are not there yet, and he still has a lot to accomplish, but would anyone be surprised if Aaron Judge could get there? You need to stop doubting him. Remember all that talk earlier this season? Oh, he looks finished. He looks old. He's not having that same start to the season that he usually does. Now, before September, he has 51 home runs. He's on his way to having another season with 60 plus home runs. Every at-bat is a must-see, and there's not a lot of players in baseball you can say that about right now. Maybe it's Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, and Bobby Witt Jr. After that, there's no one anyone else. This season that he's having is another example of how it was a good decision for him to remain a member of the New York Yankees, because I'm not sure he'd be putting up these stats with the San Francisco Giants. I mean, that ballpark is just not hitter friendly, but also he's playing in the biggest market. So every sports fan is going to talk about him. They're going to watch his at-bats. It's a big deal. Again, not enough people are talking about Aaron Judge on a national level, but every baseball fan is talking about this season, in part because he's doing it as a member of the New York Yankees. Aaron Judge on the Yankees just makes sense to me, and I'm glad he stayed with the Yankees and is entertaining us with his best season yet. Thanks for listening to this edition of Head to Head. I'm your host, Cam McKinney, and there'll be a new episode of the podcast every Monday on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so please rate, review, and subscribe.